Then we finished off, and this is what we're going to lead into today, by taking a look at symbolism of, well, these female feminist icons and with the religions and whatnot. So we took a look at the Egyptian Ankh, and then we took a look at the fact of it's the same symbol as the gender female or feminist logo, as well as Mercury, which we went into. Mercury, you can find that with the 7 principles, which is all about transcending all of heaven and earth. And it's all the same symbols. So we're going to be going into the feminist side of things. And it's important to understand this because, I mean, I know a lot of people go, okay, why are you talking about the divine feminine? Well, that's the evilness that is bringing in a lot of things, not just the feminist movement, but we see the equality and gender stuff. We see how all of that is a part of the agenda with the UN and the WEF. They're all using that same stuff. We see corporations being forced to do things through BlackRock, which is doing the gender thing and the feminist thing as well. It's all connected. It's all into the same thing. That just shows how intertwined mystery religion is involved with this stuff. So it's important to have an idea of what's going on with the divine feminine. And there's some connections that hopefully at the end of this, you'll be able to start seeing things out there. Like last week, I think somebody asked me about the Starbucks logo. Yes, that is indeed the worship of the divine mother and child, because you have the goddess and the star. That is your Semiramis and Tammuz. So some people were even like, well, what about the Starbucks thing? Well, it's there. And that's the worship of the divine feminine that's involved with that. And it's everywhere. That's the whole point of it's in your church, it's in your government, it's in your school, it's in your house, and you don't even realize it. And so I'm hoping we'll be able to learn this stuff. There's things that once I started learning these things, I actually got rid of from my house because I didn't need it. We're only here for a very short period of time. What do I care if I need that CD or that picture or that shirt or something like that? Just get rid of it. I can live without it. The only thing I can't live without is my Bible and Jesus. So something to think about on that. So this is where we see the divine feminine that connects to the satanic movement of feminism. Again, having that understanding of mystery being described as feminine reveals so much. Now, I answered that question too. Some people asked, why do you refer to mystery as her? Why do you say she, her? You reference mystery religion as feminine. Well, because the Bible does. We went over that in Revelation 17. It is a feminine, seducing, sensual type of religion. That's what it is. Mystery religion is female. It's feminine in nature. From the worship of the divine mother to Sophia, to the goddess icons and transgenderism, to the feminist movement, to Mother Earth, Gaia, which we're not going to get into the history of Gaia, but simply put, Gaia is Mother Earth, basically. She became one with the earth, and so Gaia is Mother Earth, and so on and so on. The emphasis is placed on elevating the woman into a new order, an order that destroys the patriarchy. Now, this is usually a subject that whenever you bring it up, women tend to get a little hot under the collar about. But in actuality, if we look at this the right way, which we're going to do, it just shows how valuable women are. So hang with me. Don't get mad at me. We've seen this a lot over time with the attacks on the patriarchy and the man as well. Now, the first thing to understand before we get into that is to understand God's order of the household. And it's very similar to, it's actually the exact same thing as, the church, the order that it falls into. The reason why the patriarchy is always under attack, it's because that is God's order of things. So we're going to take a look at God's order. It's a pretty simple one. God's order is you have Christ on top. He is the head. He leads. Then you have the man who he leads the household, but he follows Christ. Then you have the woman who she follows the man. And then you have the child who follows the parents. It's a pretty simple order, but you can see how in today's feminist world, how women would get offended by this. But hang with me. I'm going to show just why God has it this way and why it's so important. But if we look at what Satan wants, if we look at the order that mystery religion wants, we'll see this. Mystery religion throws away Christ, throws away the child. Some people are asking, about where the abortion stuff comes in. This is where it comes in, and it lifts woman up on top with man. Now, a lot of people might say, "Oh, they're aiming to have women go higher." Don't fall for that. They really don't. What they want is they want a balance. There's that word again. A balance of man and woman, and in order to do that, you can't have Christ and you can't have child. And so they want to bring it up to the same level. And so it's all about balance. And again, we see things like the principle of gender. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. That's your balance. We've also done things with the red flag words. I don't think I even have it on there. Why is that not on there? Guys, I messed up. Oh, no, it's there. It's there. Middle row, middle column, bottom, balance. It's there. And so when you look at this, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a balance. This is where the androgyny stuff comes in. This is where the transhuman stuff comes in. This is where all this comes in. So you can't have Christ and you can't have child when you're trying to do that. So God's order is designed to be perfect for the family. Again, you have Christ on top that leads the man, leads the house, leads them all. The man devoted to Jesus then leads his household with what Jesus commands him to do and protects the woman, protects the child. The woman is then protected by the man, supports the man, and protects the child at the same time. And the child then follows their parents, who are God-fearing and Christ-following parents. That's how it's supposed to work. Everybody is fit exactly for what God designed them to be. They are all following the Lord, and so everything should work in harmony. Everyone in this order is protected and following the head, which is Jesus Christ. Then you have, of course, Satan's order, mystery's order, how that wants to be, removes Christ and the child, raises up the woman, creates the balanced system. This will fail every time. Look at what's going on with the households nowadays, where you've got households falling apart, divorce rates going through the roof, kids are running the households, everybody's out just doing what they want to do, nobody really cares what's going on, Christ isn't leading them, there's no respect for each other, everybody's trying to play roles that they're not built to do. It falls apart every time. But if you have a house that's built on the rock, exactly how God wants it to be ordered, it will last. It's the same as what's going on with the church, the order of the church as well. It was built like this because of the value of the woman. Here we go. This is why it's important. Satan knew, God knows, Satan knows as well, that this is why he tempted Eve in the garden and he went after her. He went after the woman. He didn't go after the man, because Satan knew that if he got the woman, then she got the entire household. You get the woman, you get the man and the child, it all falls apart. So Satan went after the woman. God knew this as well, and that's why he put the woman under the man, so he could protect the woman that way as well. So it shows the value. Both God and Satan understand that if he can get the woman, the entire house blows up. That's how valuable the woman is. That's why God wanted the protection there on that. And unfortunately, it was Satan got the woman, and well, you guys know the rest. So this emphasis is on the divine woman, and it shows us that the push with mystery religion is at the helm of this. Now, if we go back into Marx Hubbard, Barbara Marx Hubbard, A New Worldview paper, which we've referenced a few times in the past. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you head back and check it out. But if we head back into this paper, we will see that this is indeed all a part of what's going on with mystery religion, because we even see the rise of the feminine in her paper as well, which it's just revealing of how involved this really is. So if we take a look at our paper, this was back in 2008, A New Worldview. If you guys don't remember, New Worldview is what the new normal was called before it became the new normal. That's what it was, a new worldview. And so if we go into this paper, we'll find a section called The Rise of the Feminine Co-Creator. There we go with the co-creator again, red flag words. We're going to see a lot of red flag words tonight. So you can see middle column up at the top, co-creation. So we can see this, and it might be too small. I'll read it for you guys. It says, up until the present, during the entire period of the patriarchy, here we go, including the development of quantum evolutionary capacities, there's quantum again, women have been held down, abused, unable to fully assert their true nature. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like something straight from the feminist movement, doesn't it? Western technology has been inspired by the idea of co-creation with the divine. Here we go with the Christ consciousness. We are gods. We are to use technology to get up to God's level and create together with the divine. We are created in the image of God, and godlike we are to become. Right. But this yearning for radical change grew distorted by the masculine rejection of the feminine. It was out of balance, red flag word. As Mary Shelley pointed out in Frankenstein, we are at the threshold of making monsters out of our capacities to create. Orthodox commentary asserted that Eve did not share in the original divine likeness. Okay. According to the fathers of the church, woman, through her vulnerability to Satan and her temptation of Adam, brought about the fall and destroyed man's original perfection. The pursuit of the masculine millennium began with a culturally contrived world without women. A celibate, there we go, monastic environment which prefigured the promised return of this primordial patriarchy or patriarchal paradise. Now it is clear that the male dominance with the power of gods can lead to destruction of humanity. If we continue on, it says, at this very moment, we are seeing the accelerated rise of the feminine. Wherever women have the opportunity, we are having fewer children. Remember, the balance removes children, right? Living longer lives, giving birth within ourselves for the first time in thousands of years to the authentic feminine self and its expression and the world. We are becoming feminine co-creators, evolutionary women. The rise of women is an evolutionary event of the highest importance, especially when we understand our role in guiding conscious evolution, there we go, towards life ever evolving. With evolutionary eyes, we can see that Earth is in its midlife crisis. Mother Earth, there it is in real terms giving birth to a species capable of restoring our Earth, freeing ourselves from poverty, war, disease, learning social synergy, while we are beginning to reproduce Earth life in a solar system and beyond. Our technologies are actual vital aspects of the evolution of Earth life. They are reproductive organs. The technology that we're creating are the reproductive organs. This is, again, more of the Christ conscious evolution pushing forward. So they're reproductive organs of the Earth life at the next stage of the developmental path of the universal species. It is possible that just as the moment when male-dominated technologies can destroy or evolve the world, the feminine co-creator is arising to help guide these powers, not towards the impossible return of some past age, but towards the transformation of humanity into a species co-created with the process of creation. And finally, the balance of the feminine with the masculine. There we go again. Just a reminder, balance of the feminine with the masculine. Principle of gender, it's the same thing. Is vital for the evolutionary synthesis to be fulfilled. And that is just what is happening now. So even Barbara Marx Hubbard, with all the things that she pushes, she also goes in with the rise of the feminine, bringing in, the down with the patriarchy, down with God's order, rise the feminine, kick the child out, kick Jesus out because we are gods ourselves, use the technology to advance. We're seeing all of these things now. Look at what's going on out there and tell me that we're not seeing all of that happening at the same time by all the big, three-letter organizations that we always reference. It's all the same stuff, all the same things happening at the same time, all being led by this. It just shows how important it truly is. Now, this same belief that is connected to balance and the Christ consciousness and the same issues being spouted by the politicians and those three-letter groups and all that stuff is also stated by Mysticism author Matthew Fox. Now, again, he's somebody that you guys may have never heard of before. He's big on mysticism. He teaches it. He goes and talks about it. He's an author of like 26 books about mysticism and whatnot. But in an article that he wrote titled Becoming Christian Mystics Again, and that was originally posted by the Huffington Post in 2011, as well as posted on awaken.com. I told you we'd be going back to that website. We're going to take another trip back today, which was posted in April of this year, 2023. He says, there's a lot here. Says, this launching into the depths, into the deep ocean of the unconscious and the great self. Here we go with self again, or as Brett Metter would say, self. The great self. It's all about self. We talk about, you know, these passages that describe what the end times are going to be like. Every time that we see that, the list always has selfishness involved. It's all about self. It's all about us. We take everything and put it on ourself. And so we look at this into the deep ocean of the unconscious and of the great self, which is connected to all things and to the creator. Again, we got to rise up, be co-creators, right? That's what they say. Often gets stymied by Western religious dogma, guilt trips, and institutional churchiness. I feel attacked. I'm offended. He also says the mystic gets starved. Patriarchal culture, here we go with the patriarchy again, by itself is unable to tap into the deep feminine aspects of divine wisdom and compassion. That would be Sophia. And the heart. Remember, they always want you to follow your heart when the last thing you want to do is follow your heart. But the mystics, male and female, do not present a one-sided reality as patriarchy does. The yin-yang, male-female dialectic, here we go with the balance again, is alive and well in the mystical tradition. God as mother is honored along with God as father. There's the balance. Through this, mystics seek wisdom and not mere knowledge. He goes on to say further in the article, says, is Western culture in error outlived, or is there wisdom deep within our roots that can be accessed anew and that can give us strength and understanding at this critical time when so much is falling apart? The world over, when climate change and destruction of the earth accelerates and so many species are disappearing, while our banking systems and economic belief systems, our form of education and forms of worship are failing. What does all of that sound like, guys? Remember, this was back in 2011, written by a mystic author. All of that sounds exactly like what the UN is trying to do with their SDG meetings, isn't it? Climate change, destruction of the earth. We've got banking systems, economic systems, education. All of this, this is all the same stuff that the UN, the WEF, all these guys are starting to not starting to, but have been pushing and are accelerating now. This only confirms, only shows that all of this stuff is rooted in the same thing. Mystery religion. Later in the article, and this is the last one, he goes on to say, deep down, each one of us is a mystic. When we tap into that energy, we become alive again and we give birth to ourselves. We're starting to see the same stuff repeated by these guys, aren't we? From the creativity, co-creators, we release is born the prophetic vision and work that we shall aspire to realize as our gifts to the world. We want to serve in whatever capacity we can. Getting in touch with the mystics inside is the beginning of our deep service. So again, we continue to see the same narrative in everything. All these SDG things are all the same thing to do with what's going on with the new thought, with the Christ consciousness, the conscious evolution, the divine feminine, the balance. All of these things are connected to the same thing, And yes, I'm going to keep on saying that this entire series because I want people to understand it is mystery religion that is leading everything that we see going on out there. All the surface level stuff that we talk about, that the news pounds our faces with, that we talk about all the time with each other, these things that keep coming out, they're all led by the same thing. And when you go beyond the surface, when you dig down below the surface where Satan doesn't want you to go, he doesn't want you to know all of this stuff. He wants you to continue to look at the surface. But when you dig down further, you see the roots all lead to the same thing. And that same thing is mentioned in Revelation 17. It's mystery religion who's riding the beast. This is unfortunately a subject that most people I mean, they don't know, and they don't even want to know. I mean, this is something where I've said mystery religion to people who are quite educated with the Bible, and they give me this dumbfounded look like I've never heard that in my life before. And I'm like, everything that we're seeing prophetically unfold has to do with this thing, and that's something that you don't know about? Why? Why is that? Because Satan doesn't want people digging that far down. He doesn't. All of the connections of mystery, divine feminine, balance, the patriarchy, the world problems, from climate to banking, all meet together. All of these things are one in the same, and they are not separate like we tend to think they are. The attack on the patriarchy is something that we can see obvious in movements as well as news. So if we get into what's going on with the attack of patriarchy, the feminist movement, we understand it has to do with balance, about destroying God's order, putting everybody in balance, women and men. We see things like this in the news that shouldn't shock us. These are just a few. Just go and search patriarchy and see what pops up. See, disaster patriarchy, how the pandemic has unleashed a war on women. 10 ways to smash patriarchy at home. How the patriarchy got in our heads. And that says in their new book, Why Does Patriarchy Persist? Carol Gilligan and Naomi Snyder explore the psychology that keeps men in positions of power. And this one's my favorite. It says, Smashing the Patriarchy, Why There's Nothing Natural About Male Supremacy. Now, this one I find fascinating because of the name of the woman who wrote it. Written by Gaia Vince. Gaia is the goddess name for Mother Earth. So, I mean, here's just a couple of pictures of what people think of when you think of Mother Earth, when you think of Gaia. Obviously, you got the one on the left. You can see right there, it even says Mother Earth on it. The one on the right, you can see the balance. See the balance of things. You got the sun on one side, the moon on the other. Everything is perfectly in balance. Oh, there's the bunny too. Yeah. If you want to dig into what Easter comes from, you can go ahead and take a look at that. But the reason why I'm pointing this out with Gaia is because this goddess worship or representation of Gaia, of Mother Earth, has made its way into quote-unquote Christian media. And if you guys don't remember, this is actually, if you guys don't know, this is from a music video from Lauren Daigle, who is dressed up as Mother Earth. Some people might say, oh, that's just coincidence. That's not what she's doing. Yeah. I got beachfront property in Montana for you. Come ask me, see how much it's selling for. It creeps in. It's in everything. Now, I've talked about Lauren Daigle in the past. She's definitely not one to ever follow or listen to her music, but this just confirms it even more that she's into all of that stuff. It's always there. It always sneaks in. And now, again, remember how I've been talking about all this stuff with the feminist and everything has to do with SGG meeting, or not the meetings, but the goals. If you guys don't know, goal number 5 literally has to do with achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. This has to do with bringing about the balance, the masculine and the feminine balance. It's in all of this stuff. We just don't see it. So that's even goal number 5 for the SDGs. The attack on the patriarchy, or God's order, also is heavily done through Hollywood. This should come as no surprise. Either in the way of dumbing down the man or the father and making him practically worthless and needs to be saved, or by solving or fixing every problem through the woman. So if you dumb down the man and you make them less important, you can empower the woman by making her the problem solver, the fixer, and all this stuff. And this is something that's been fed through Hollywood for a while. I mean, if you go back to some of the classic sitcoms, TV sitcoms and stuff, it's all the same ploy. These are just 4 These are just four. There's a bunch out there. I mean, you can really find them. But Home Improvement, Tim Allen, he's always the dumb idiot breaking things, always messing up, emotionally distant, can't do anything right. Jill's always the one that has to come in and give him the answer to fix everything. Married with Children, shit, just that's probably one of the worst ones, along with The Simpsons. Homer Simpson is just a complete idiot who can't do anything, always messes everything up, and Marge is looked at as the problem solver. Then you got Everybody Loves Raymond, who, again, I mean, just go and check out the show. But these are just a couple of them, and they've been feeding it through Hollywood for a while, where you make the guy stupid, you make the woman better, and you can start this balance, and you start demeaning the man. I mean, it's the same thing. You look at commercials that come out. It's always the man who makes the mess, who breaks something, who can't figure out how to do something, and it's the wife or it's the woman who comes in with the solution. That's almost every commercial you see out there. Good luck finding a commercial where those roles are reversed. Good luck. Or you see what's going on with modern Hollywood movies nowadays, where the man is always getting led around by the powerful and all-knowing woman. It's the same thing. It's destroying the patriarchy. It's trying to bring in the balance, and it's showing empowering women, bringing in the divine feminine. All that stuff comes in. But there's also another way that they're doing it, and this comes from the recent Barbie movie. The Barbie movie is ending relationships left and right. And you just see some of the stuff. There's a tweet, or whatever X calls them now. I don't know. It's a tweet, whatever. She says, "Did anyone watch Barbie and suddenly want to break up with their boyfriend, or was that just me? Are you crying? You're just a guy and you'll never understand how difficult it is to be a woman in a man's world. There's this attention to detail that a lot of men don't have." And from the article, it says elsewhere on TikTok, women are sharing how they plan to use the "what did you think of Barbie" as a litmus test for dating. It should be noted, plenty of men passed this test easily, dressing up in pink for the movie or sympathizing with their girlfriends or wives after seeing it. And it goes on to say, if you go and see it with a guy who says Ken did nothing wrong, patriarchy is good, then you need to get rid of him. Yeah. It's a push to destroy the patriarchy, to bring down the man and elevate the woman, to bring them up into balance, destroy God's order, and bring about the order that Satan wants, or mystery's order. It should come as no surprise that this is what's being pushed, and it's being pushed onto women. It's being pushed onto girls, little girls, to grow and to believe of this classic phrase of, "I don't need no man. I'm self-sufficient. I'm woman. Hear me roar." All of these things like that. It's all about destroying God's order, how he designed things to be. And if it's built correctly, which he built it correctly, but if everybody fills the roles that they're supposed to, it will work. But Satan doesn't want that. You get to the woman through feminism, you get to the whole household, it falls apart. It's the same ploy that happened in the garden. It's happening now. It just continues to go. And let's not forget things considered Christian media on this, like the movie The Shack. Now, I've talked about The Shack before, but we're going to talk about it now because it's important, and this is a series that I think we need to talk about it. So if we take a look at The Shack, which is considered a Christian movie, which is anything but, it's actually a Gnostic movie, and I'll show you why. We have the representation of the Holy Trinity here. You got Jesus, who's a dude, but then you've got God and the Holy Spirit, which are represented by women. It's amazing how that works, and people will praise this movie going, "Oh, it's such a good Christian movie. It's good for everybody to watch, and you can learn so much," and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But there's something else that doesn't get talked about with this movie either, and that's the fact that there's a character called Sophia. And by the way, the movie is based on the book, so it's multiple forms here. But there's a character called Sophia in the story as well. And when you look into who Sophia is, she's God's wisdom. Sophia in Gnosticism is the divine wisdom. And these are just a couple of things. One's from the book, one's from the movie that do character analysis. This one's interesting. It says Sophia, the personification of God's wisdom, is a beautiful, commanding woman who forces Mac, who's the lead guy, to realize that in judging other people, he is actually, by extension, judging God for allowing evil to exist in the world. Jesus later explains that Sophia is not a distinct part of the Trinity, but instead part of the mystery surrounding Holy Spirit. The Sarah Yu is Holy Spirit. That's Gnosticism, but this is being touted as a Christian movie. And because I just felt like it, if you look at the soundtrack of this movie, you'll find, first off, you've got a song by Need to Breathe featuring Lauren Daigle. And if you guys don't remember, I played a video before, but if you weren't there, you can find it online. I didn't put it in here because I'll get this video taken down, but you can find it on YouTube, where Lauren Daigle is getting interviewed about the shack, and she loves the fact that God and the Holy Spirit are represented as women. Yeah, that's the same girl who was dressing up as Mother Earth, as Gaia. And you also got other quote-unquote Christian bands and musicians who have their music in this thing as well. Skillet, we've talked about already with this series. Francesca Battistelli, I don't know who that is, but she claims to be a Christian musician. You got Lecrae. Hillsong, no surprise there. Rich Mullins is one that I'm sure surprises people, but look into his background and you'll see he's not quite what people think he is. For King and Country and We Are Messengers, all classified as Christians, and they're all involved with the Gnostic movie. Just something to think about on there. But it just shows that same Gnostic belief that every religion stems from. The divine feminine has crept into Christian media as well. If we look into this further, what we find is mystery religion that gets injected into the feminine goddess, into the world religions and the empowering of women. So mystery religion that injects the divine feminine, you will find it in pretty much everything that's being done now. So I said we'd head back to awaken.com, and we're going to do that. So we're going to go from a familiar place. We've been there before. Again, if you guys haven't seen the past episodes, I went over it back then. And we're going to head back into it now, and we're going to take a look at one of Awaken's teachers, Chameli Ardagh, or Ardagh, something like that. We'll just say Chameli. Why not? Might be too small. I'll just give you a little background on this chick, because we're going to be looking at her website and what she does. Chameli is the founder of Awakening Women. The name alone should be sending off nuclear silo sirens in your brain, and is a leading pioneer in women's spirituality. She has more than 2 decades inspired thousands of women around the world with her breakthrough practices for living and embodying spiritual awakening. Her love of decoding and experimenting with ancient wisdom teachings through her own practice in yogini circles all over the world has crystallized maps of spiritual awakening and leadership that are accessible, practical, and honoring of women today. Rooted in earth honoring, there's Gaia, Mother Earth, devotional women's spirituality, and goddess-centered tantric yoga, she is especially appreciated for her love of mythology and storytelling as a key to spiritual awakening and embodiment. Yikes. If we go a little bit further down, it says she is a spiritual activist and philanthropist in training, committed to using her influence and resources to educate and support organizations working on behalf of Mother Earth and empowerment of women and girls. And one of her quotes, she's spoken at many different things, including TEDx and all these things, but one of her quotes that's very fascinating and telling, she says, a yogini is a spiritual rebellion. A spiritual rebellion. Engaged in a glowing and embodied, nothing held back love affair with the great mystery. Passionate about truth, rest, and real love, unshakably rooted in the Great Mother, she dreams a new world into being. She's a co-creator. She is fluent in angelic diva and Kali roars. Earth is home, and so is infinity. I mean, how many red flag words are we going to just nail tonight? Well, we've got awaken, we've got vibes, we got spirituality, we got infinite, we got co-creation, we got balance. Don't worry, we'll hit a few more tonight as well too. But it's just, again, this stuff is important to understand what's going on with us. So let's take a look at our website, Awakening Women, and right off the bat, it's just right rooted in the living goddess. Goddess Wisdom School. That should be enough right there to tell you what's going on. But something I want to say with this is we're going to be looking at a couple of websites. The point isn't to shine light on these specific websites. The point isn't to shine light specifically on, these people. What I'm hoping that we can do here is, as we go through these things, because these are good learning tools in my opinion, to see what is being taken from these sites and how it's being pushed into the real world now. So that's what I want to point out. So the spotlight isn't on the website itself, but it's what they say, how they say it. And we can see these things as we go about looking at the news and stuff that's going on today. So that's what I want to focus on. So we see rooted in a living goddess, but I want to point something out. If you look just above that, you'll see a little triangle, an upside down triangle. Now, a lot of people might look at that and go, oh, that's not really worth looking at. It is, though, because I've made reference to it before, but this is the symbol of the divine feminine, and it's also been used throughout history in the alphabet movement as well. So the upside down triangle back in the day was a symbol used by, if you guys don't remember, lesbians in the alphabet movement. They used to use this symbol back in the day before they started utilizing, the rainbow flag and all this other stuff. They actually used that. Now, where did that come from? Might surprise some people. We got to go back to the Nazi concentration camps. No joke. If you go back to the Nazi concentration camps, you will find that there were patches that have different colored triangles that were put on the outfits of people. They had red ones and green ones and all and these other ones that represented if you were a political enemy or some other stuff. I can't remember exactly. But if we look at the Nazi camp patches, there's two. If one had a upside down triangle that was pink, they were represented as they were a gay man, they were trans, or they were a pedophile. If they had an upside down black one, they were labeled as asocials. They could be anything from people who had drug problems to gypsies, which the gypsies eventually got brown triangles instead, but they were a part of it, to lesbians and prostitutes as well. And so when you go back into the concentration camps of these, they would put these different colored upside down triangles. And that's where this kind of all came from with the movement as well. It's amazing how that just continues to follow with that. And it just shows that mystery religion is in literally everything. It's kind of amazing how this isn't the first time that I've talked about Nazism on this series. This isn't even just the second time. I've talked about it 3 or 4 times, and it continues to go back there. Just remember where Schwab and his family comes from. Just something to think about. Now, if we get back to Awakening Women, their website here, it says the Women's Wisdom School. Say that 5 times. Women's Wisdom School, can't even say, practices are rooted in ancient wisdom and focus on direct intimacy with spirit. Not the spirit, no, spirit. Yeah. With source, with goddess. Through meditation, prayer, mantra, goddess mythology, dance, inquiry, and respectful touch, we are rooting our lives in our deepest realization of freedom and wisdom for the benefits of all. And they just go through, you can see things where they got online sadhanas and women's temple, their weekend getaways, ashrams, all these different things. If you guys want to look into those things, you can. We're not going to take a look at all that stuff. I don't see much benefit unless you guys just want to know, then you guys can check it out on your own. But if we keep going on this, this tells us a lot right here. This is the moment. Perhaps you feel it. This again is on their website, Awakening Women. That yearning from the deep warmth of you, the call for awakening. Not the one you read about or just hear about, but the real deal, flooding each cell of your body awakening that you know in your bones is all that will ever satisfy your soul. The thing is, guys, when it comes to awakening, I've heard politicians and political groups and talking heads and stuff that say the same type of stuff about when you are awakened, you will feel it down to your bones and whatnot. Again, it's subtle, but it's there. That's what I want you guys to pick up on this. Learn to recognize these things and how it worms its way in subtle ways. Go beyond the surface. The yearning within you for the real is the voice of evolution. It is the rumbling of a new paradigm. Goddess mythology from all over the world describes the archetypal patterns of both ignorance and awakening playing themselves out in our personal and collective lives today. Millions of women are hearing the call to reconnect with and bring forth the healing medicine of the divine feminine to bring back balance to a humanity that has separated ourselves and forgotten the vast intelligence we are made of. Learn to pick these things up, because it's not just said in these whacked out groups like Awakening Women. It's not just said in these groups, but it's said in politics, it's said in the news, it's said in churches, it's said in speakers. This is stuff that continues to get thrown around in different subtle ways, but it all, again, is rooted back into the same thing. So be careful and always be aware of what you're hearing and reading and seeing, all these stuff, because remember, these are the days of deception, and this deception goes much further than all of us, and I'm including myself, really realize. We got to always go past the surface on this stuff. Now, if we keep going on this website, we see our values, and this is where we will see the same stuff that's being pushed in the SDG stuff, the UN, the WEF, all being right here found on Awakening Women. It's the same stuff. So our values: spirituality is not only the content of our programs, but also the foundation of how we create and move in the world beyond the scenes. The Awakening Women team makes it a practice to align our work and daily lives with our shared values. It is to us an honor to steward this container of women to do their sacred work. And so I just picked out a few of them. There's other ones, but it's not worth really going over. But we look at this: inclusivity. All women and those who identify as women of all colors, age, ability, sexual orientation, and backgrounds are welcome to practice with us. Where have you heard all that stuff before? Although our programs are specifically for those identifying as women, we hold the utmost respect for men and other gender identities, and for the importance of healing between all genders. When we gather to practice in the Women's Wisdom Circle, we connect with and bring forth a source of wisdom and healing that is benefit to all beings. Man, where have I heard all this stuff before? Here we go. I'm sure you guys will recognize this one. Know it as the climate religion. Love for the earth. We support each other in aligning our daily actions with our love for Mother Earth. We are partnered with and regularly donate to organizations dedicated to tending our precious relationship with Earth, restoring indigenous land and culture in the Amazon, and planting trees. That's your climate religion, the climate change stuff that's all getting pushed by all these groups. There it is. It's right there. It's the same thing. It's rooted in the same thing, mystery religion. And of course, finishing it off, we have social justice. We believe spiritual awakening goes hand in hand with social activism and justice. We are in an ongoing education around racial justice, privilege, and bringing awareness to cultural appropriation. We are committed to the dismantling of racism, sexism, homophobia, and bigotry of all kinds, and to support leaders and causes that reflect and guard these values. It is the same thing. The same language, wording, description, summary, whatever you want to say, that you find on Awakening Women is the exact same stuff that you see getting pushed by the UN, by the WEF, by the Biz, by the World Bank, by all of these organizations. Why is that? Because it's rooted in the same thing. Don't make me say it again, guys. I know you guys know it. It is mystery religion. She is the one who rides the beast. She rides the beast system. It's all the same thing. And I just don't understand why people don't see it. Let's keep going. Awakening Women, our living goddess path. We're going to see a lot of stuff in this, guys. Just hang with me. I know it's a lot of reading, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Most spiritual paths and religions have their roots in ancient goddess-centered traditions. Yes, that is 100% true. All religions worship their divine combo. Where is it? Wasn't planning on bringing this up. Right here. Boom. They all worship a goddess. It's all rooted in a goddess. That's religion. We who follow Jesus Christ are not a part of a religion. Remember, Jesus hates religion. So when they say spiritual paths and religions have their roots in ancient goddess-centered traditions, it's true. Even those that directly or indirectly reject and condemn the feminine also have goddess-centered traditions. Though we seldom made it in the scriptures or history books, women have traditionally held the seat of the yogini. Oh, there's the yogini again. Wisdom keeper, shaman, healer, sikona, medicine woman, and priestess. Now, some of this stuff I won't cover. I won't be able to cover it. Head on over to Billy Crone. Check out his Voodoo Vampire series. He covers a lot of this stuff as well. In Awakening Women's Wisdom School, we study goddess mythology, sacred text, and embodied awakening to reclaim our direct relationship to Source, capital S Source, and revive our spiritual lineage rooted in the Great Mother. Here, spiritual awakening is not approached as an endless self-improvement project or forever exclusive carrot on a stick. Our practice roots us in the vastness of the universal nature of goddess here and now. Awake to the luminous spaciousness of presence, we learn to meet the inevitable ups and downs of life with creativity, compassion, and authentic power. We cultivate our capacity to embody the free flow of the Shakti, divine intelligence, because we care deeply and long to leave this earth a better place for future generations. And finishing this section off, it says, we gather to practice, to hold and mirror each other as we stand here at the edge of evolution, birthing, here we go with the new birth stuff again, a humanity rooted in the mother. We remind each other that no, we are not crazy or feeling the way that we feel, and no, we don't have to do it alone. And then right here, it goes on to say, we use the word yogini as a way of naming our particular path. Yogini is a Sanskrit word describing a female spiritual practitioner and wisdom keeper, a woman who vows to place her connection to spirit at the center of her life, while fully engaged in family, work, rest, creativity, and social justice. There we go again. There we go again. We just got two more things on this. Hang with me. The circle is the teacher. And you can see the upside down triangle again. You see it all over this website. It's there. The women's wisdom path is not a chase for liberation for the chosen few. Here we are initiated into a premortal belonging and responsibility for the whole. I told you we'd be running into another red flag word, wholeness. We're there. Hang on to that, because as we go along in this series, we're going to keep seeing this wholeness. There's going to be a section that we do that's going to be a lot of wholeness, so hang with me there. responsibility for the whole, and the circle is a powerful place to explore how the unique expression of each one of us weaves like colorful threads into the vast tapestry of the world that is the goddess herself. We relate to the women's circle as a teacher and a live archetype, a field with an intelligence of its own. Since the beginning of time, women have gathered to honor the sacred, offering the fruits of their practice back into the circle, as we do now, just by each one of us showing up fully in our seat as we are willing to practice. We co-create this timeless web of healing and awakening, weaving through space, through all dimensions, surrounding our earth and beyond. Every time we practice, we access and feed this well of wisdom for our ancestors, for ourselves, and generations to come. And the last thing I want to point out on this is some of their practices. They do the goddess mythology. They do embodiment, where it's about the fierce challenge and loving and invitation of the goddess path is to awaken and experience her wisdom through our bodies. That's where we see a lot of the chakra stuff, the kundalini, things like that. We got ritual, where they do rituals of worship, of initiation, rites of passage, and rituals for blessing and healing. And then their devotion. The yogini path is a devotional, non-dual path. The goddess is viewed as the wholeness of totality. And it goes on to say, we sing mantras, we dance and pray as direct portals into the vast freedom of the heart. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that we will see that same belief system, that same teaching, the same mentality, the same rituals that they do, all that stuff, you will find it weaved throughout different churches, in politics, believe it or not. Yes, you will find that same stuff weaved throughout politics, and you will see it in things like what we see with the policies of the WEF and the UN and all these things as well. Everything is rooted in that same stuff. But it doesn't stop there. There are countless organizations and programs just like that out there, but there's also more modern, less exotic things, because that's a pretty out there thing for most. So as far as reeling it in, dialing it in for more of a modern audience type of thing, like somebody in San Francisco or New York, just, throwing it out there, you will find things like mystery schools that will appeal to a modern audience. And there's not just one, there's not just two, there's not just three, but there are hundreds of mystery schools out there. I kid you not. So we're going to look at something else. It's called the Sophia Code. Yeah. And it's by a woman by the name of Gaia. And yeah, that does have to go back with the Egyptian goddess stuff as well. So let's take a look at the Sophia Code. Confidently, again, the focus isn't necessarily on these sites, but it's taking a look at how all this stuff is connected and where you can kind of pull this stuff out and be on the lookout as you go about your daily lives. So keep that in mind. Confidently step into your spiritual leadership with the Sophia Code movement. Learn how to create wealth, influence, and fulfillment in your life by becoming a dynamic leader in the global awakening of humanity. There's a lot of stuff we see getting thrown out there: wealth, influence, fulfillment. We've already talked in the past how the prosperity gospel stems from this stuff as well too. Are we all surprised? I'm not. Now, one of the logos on this website is a dragon logo that kind of looks familiar. It's the infinity symbol with a lotus flower. We've seen all that everywhere, right? Balance. There's your infinity. Lotus flower. We've seen that with New Thought. Several logos have had the lotus flower. It's all there. It's all there. Now, if we take a look at the mystery school, the Sophia Code mystery school curriculums, man, that's just frightening. And she calls you angel. Isn't that beautiful? Welcome to our modern mystery school. Every curriculum is channeled. That's not good. Every curriculum was channeled directly from the Sophia Dragon tribe, just like the Sophia Code. Therefore, this is a quantum body of work. Here we go with the same words again, quantum. Yes, that is where the quantum network, quantum computing stuff comes from. It is a very supernatural level of computing. But this is therefore this is a quantum body of work that can be returned to again and again for a lifetime of learning. Although the curriculum series was created by a linear sequence, it was channeled in such a way that your higher self, here we go with the self again, will guide you to your unique starting place with this material. We also have brilliant team angels. Guys, there's a lot of frightening stuff here. I'm telling you, this isn't just stuff to laugh at. This is demonic, to the core demonic. We also have brilliant team angels that are mystery school graduates who are happy to speak with you in a free consultation call about the curriculum. Thank you for taking the opportunity to go deeper in your mentorship with the Ascended Masters. Remember in Gnosticism, where they have the astral elders, the Ascended Masters? Hinduism's got it, Buddhism's got it, all these religions, Islam has it. They all have Ascended Masters, astral elders, all these people that sit above us outside of reality, that when we reach gnosis, enlightenment, new knowledge, we will go up and get new knowledge from them and bring it down. That's what she's talking about. It's wrapped up in all the religions. Thank you for taking the opportunity to go deeper in your mentorship with the Ascended Masters for embodying your higher self and fulfilling your divine purpose. Here we go with we're gods again. I consider it an honor to welcome you at the temple gates of this dynamic learning environment that's consecrated to empowering your sovereign divinity. We have no divinity. That's, again, we are not gods. We don't go there. And just a couple of things from the curriculum. Again, this is showing how it's all wrapped up together in the same thing. Become a certified Sophia circle leader. Learn how to create a dynamic space of sovereign self-inquiry for your clients. All this stuff includes 13 transformational gatherings that include altar creations, invocations, water blessings, meditation, prayer to who, group readings, and creative journaling prompts for community sharing. This is witchcraft. This is practicing divination. This is channeling demons to get this stuff done. That's what they are teaching. There is nothing of God here. This is straight from the pits of hell that will send people straight to the pits of hell. A couple of classes that they have, I just picked 3 that stuck out to me. They have Stargate 2, which she believes your heart is a Stargate. Learn how to recognize 3 divine feminine archetypes guiding your leadership: the creator, the healer, and the teacher. Teachings for how to take your professional offering to the next level. Then they have Magdalene Heart Immersive, Journey with the Magdalens. Yeah, Mary Magdalene. The Magdalene Heart Immersive is a 6-session video curriculum designed to empower your spiritual journey and divine purpose with channeled transmissions from Joan of Arc, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene. Empower your divine purpose and deepen your connection with the Magdalene lineage with this mystery school curriculum. And then they have sovereignty sessions. Next level teachings on sovereignty and psychic attunements on discernment. Discernment is something you lack dearly. Insights on spiritual leadership, somatic movement, creative community building exercises. The thing is, all of that stuff is being practiced in churches today. And it's not just the whacked out churches that you think. This is stuff that's being slowly pushed. Look at Bethel. They do a lot of this stuff. Hillsong does the same thing. Elevation does the same thing, maybe not to the extent that Bethel does, but they also do these types of things as well. And when you're talking about channeling, and I'm not going to get into a huge thing, but that involves a lot of music, because if you go back to the principles, rhythm and vibration and all this stuff has to do with music. It's involved in there. So when you're talking about channeling and doing all these things, music is definitely involved with all this as well. And how many churches out there churches you attend, some of your favorite pastors and teachers preach at, play music from Bethel, Hillsong, and Elevation, the same people that are behind all this stuff. It's in your church, and you don't even realize it. And your pastor doesn't even realize it either. That's frightening. That's frightening. Also, if you continue with the website, I didn't take any pictures or anything, but I'll just go ahead and tell you. They also have a section called Activations, where you can find your higher self. And they have different ones, and these are the titles of them. I'm not going to get into what they are and stuff, but just from the titles, it tells you. These are higher self activations, like Heart of Sovereignty Paris. We just talked about Paris last Saturday, so if you haven't seen that, that should tell you something. Magdalene Rising, Shambhala Golden Age, Lionsgate, Hathor Ankh, there we go, back to the Egyptian stuff again, Unshakable Faith, Sophia's Grace, which that one's about divine feminine Christ. Embody Your Sovereignty, Sophia Chakra, Sophia Dragon's Divine Purpose, Activate Your Angel Wings, Magdalene and Vagyara Yogini Transmission, which is about activating your Christ consciousness, Mother Mary's Sacred Flame, Higher Self-Embodiment. So those are some activation stuff you can do. They also have on the website the Sophia Code. They also have trinkets, jewelry, including rosaries, Catholic rosaries available. And if you actually browse, if you want to do their search or browse thing, you can filter it out. And they have a thing that's called Ascended Masters. And they have trinkets from Sophia, Isis, Hathor, Green Tara, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Woman, and Joan of Arc. That's a helping smorgasbord of different religions and beliefs that are all being pushed together as the same thing. But I thought all these religions were so far apart, there's no possible way that they could ever come together to form one world religion. They all come from Gnosticism. So if they all come from the same place, they can easily fold right back into the same place, right? What we are seeing is how every religion is showing up, whether through name, practice, ritual, or goddess, with Sophia being that astral elder of wisdom that's really intertwined in all of these. The divine feminine shows up in icons, in worship, in uses of wisdom, unity, and leads in the same ways of climate change, earth worship, social justice, technology, and even things like economics, the banking system, and the like. We just went through all of that and how it's all intertwined in all of it. The same religious principles that we see from the beginning with the tempting of Eve has carried all the way to today through the feminist movement, all the way to even the SDGs being used to bring in the Antichrist beast system, all rooted in the same thing, mystery rides the beast. This is the mystery religion leading this system, riding that beast, and everything that's involved with the one world religion, one world government, and one world economy is all converging at the same time because all three are being led by the same thing, mystery religion. It's by the same thing. And so finishing this off, this is the last thing we got. I'm not going to go too much longer. Finishing this off. We're going to swing right back around to Gnosticism and its connection to the feminist and gender equality agenda. In Gnosticism, you'll remember that Lilith is known as Adam's first wife. Again, if you guys haven't seen the past episodes, I did one entirely on Gnosticism. Go check it out if you guys aren't following. In Gnosticism, you'll remember that Lilith is known as Adam's first wife, the first to reach gnosis or enlightenment, and was also the serpent who tempted Eve in order to free them from God's prison. And I don't think I have that picture anymore. I don't. But you can even take a look at Michelangelo's painting of the temptation of Eve. It's actually a woman in the shape of a snake who is giving Eve the fruit. It just continues to show us this. Lilith is another icon in the feminist movement because she is known as the first feminist activist. No joke. They consider Lilith the first feminist activist in the feminist movement. She is also used as a divine feminine demon to activate. Here we go with more activation. Maybe I need to throw that on the red flag list. To activate through spell casting and witchcraft. If you guys don't believe me, here is just one, and it's a spell book. Lilith spells. Tapping into the dark divine feminine and feminist activism. 35 spells for feminism, activism, contraception. Again, you got to remove the child, right? And feminine empowerment. Written by Emma Teller at Eclectic Witchcraft. I kid you not. Now, if we take a look at the summary of what this book is, doesn't get any better. It says, delve into the mystical world of Lilith spells, tapping into the dark divine feminine and feminist activism. A powerful grimoire that will guide you on a transformative journey through the realms of Lilith, the first wife of Adam, feminist icon, and demon goddess. Unearth the secrets of this enigmatic figure, who embodies the essence of feminine power, independence, and rebellion. Here we go with the rebellion against patriarchal oppression again. You guys seeing the same pattern through all these things? I mean, we've seen that several times now. Rebellion against the patriarchy. Discover the rich history of Lilith from her ancient Mesopotamian and Judaic origins to her role as a feminist activist in the modern world. Explore her intriguing mythos as she emerges as a symbol of defiance and autonomy, inspiring women to challenge societal norms and embrace their inner strength. Again, I mean, we're just seeing the same stuff rolling through. Embrace the dark divine feminine with an array of powerful spells and rituals designed to help you tap into the transformative energies of Lilith. From seduction and self-love. Wait, where have I heard that before? James 3:13 through 18. We just looked at this last week. Talks about two different wisdoms, one from God and one that's demonic. But how does he describe it? But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are. That's the exact same thing that's being described here. From seduction and self-love to empowerment and protection, these spells will guide you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual liberation. We take a look here at the table of contents. You get your introduction, you're about Lilith. You get her history, the origins of Lilith, exploring Mesopotamian and Judaic mythology. Lilith and Adam, the first woman and her rebellion. Lilith in the Garden of Eden, banishment and independence. Modern thoughts about Lilith. Lilith as an activist. You get the cult of Lilith, her worship and practices. Symbols and sigils. The representation of Lilith. Lilith's associations with the night monster. Lilith's magical correspondence. Herbs that Lilith likes. Crystals that Lilith likes. Offerings to Lilith. And to finish this off, they tell us what the 35 spells are. And a lot of them are telling. Seduction spell, feminine rage spell, protection from pregnancy. Again, remove the child, right? Remove Christ, remove the child, bring the woman up, be in balance. You got moon spells, banish toxic men spells, world feminism spell, cord cutting ritual, dreams of Lilith, consecrating a tarot deck to Lilith, pendulum to Lilith, night protection, day protection, astral travel. There we go with that again. Nightly thank you to Lilith. Lilith's invocation for self-love. Shadow work with Lilith. Feminist leadership and advocacy spell. It just breaking the patriarchal chains, calling upon Lilith for justice, spiritual liberation and freedom ritual, summoning Lilith's courage for personal transformation, dance of Lilith, the movement meditation, and guided tour of Lilith's Eden. Everything in the feminist movement, the equality movement, these SDGs, empowerment of women, and all these stuff is all rooted in that. I only showed a couple websites and a book, and it goes way beyond. And the same stuff being pushed on Awakening Women and the Sophia Code is the same stuff that was being pushed by Barbara Marx Hubbard, and we still got a lot to get to with her. The SDG stuff, the UN, the WEF, world churches, and on and on and on. All the stuff that we continue to see coming out from these different organizations that are bringing about this beast system, all are rooted from the same thing. And all of this stuff is also sneaking into churches, it's sneaking into schools, sneaking into your government, obviously. It's sneaking into your house. If you can't even recognize what's coming into your own house, how do you plan on navigating going out there? That's always been my whole point with trying to get people to look beyond the surface and not just what the news articles are saying. If we don't understand the why, we have absolutely no way of defending ourselves, much less going and attacking. How can we go out there and warn people of what is coming if we don't even have a grasp on what is actually happening now compared to what is coming? We have to know the why if we're going to defend and then attack. Otherwise, we're just swinging at air. And nothing good's ever going to happen with that. You're just going to tire yourself out and accomplish nothing. And so that's why I think it's so important that we see and understand what all this stuff is truly rooted in and how it's all connected. I mean, this is part 9, and how much dot connecting have we done so far? And we still haven't gotten to the school curriculum. We haven't gotten to the Rockefellers yet. We haven't gotten to the Club of Rome and the Club of Budapest, and we haven't gotten to these huge, that we haven't gotten to the aliens yet. Yeah, all that stuff is all rooted in the same stuff. There's so much there. And it all comes back to the same thing. And I guarantee if you say mystery religion, and I won't even just say to your friends or your family or anything like that, say it to your pastor and look at the look that comes upon their face. I'm going to guess most if you say that to them will have a dumbfounded look come upon their face, because they don't know what you're talking about. When that is the biggest danger right now, because that's what's leading everything, including the garbage, the satanic garbage that is leaking into churches. I mean, in various ways, but the biggest one is the music. But I'm not going to get into that, because that's not what this is about. But it's important that we understand the why. We need to understand the why. Otherwise, we can't defend ourselves. We can't. When we look at all these things at a surface level, things can look separate, they can look disconnected, they can look sporadic. But if you dig below the surface and you find out where the roots are, they all go to the same thing. We can see the global control agenda, the alphabet agenda, the feminist agenda, the climate agenda, the banking and technology agenda. We can see the currency agenda. We can see all these agendas that we know will eventually come together. I mean, we know they will because the Bible tells us they will. But we really don't know how it's all coming together unless we dig further. Everyone sees all these agendas, but they don't see the agendas and the religions are all the same thing. There's always a disconnect. All of the religions are led by the divine feminine, which is earthly, sensual, and self-seeking, as we read in James. It's all being led by mystery religion, which will soon become the one world religion, which is exactly what Satan wants. He wants to be worshipped as God. And when you see all these things coming together like they are, religion and policy and technology, they're all leading to that, with mystery leading the way.